And we're back. So, let's find out exactly what the heck is she's talking about, shall we? Junpei held up his hands. He took a deep breath and let it out. Let's just calm down for a second, okay? Start from the top. Don't start with the end and then jump to the middle. You gotta start at 1, and then move to 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. If you don't tell me stuff in the right order, I'm never gonna be able to figure it out. Clover nodded. Alright, let's start with this experiment. What happened on this boat 9 years ago? Do you know about the morphogenic fields? He did, and then realization sent chills down Junpei's spine. Alright, how about this? Theory of the telepathic mechanism. Junpei recounted what Lotus had told him earlier. Clover nodded. Lexiville, you pretty much just mirrored my exact opinions, although I don't have strong opinions about 1 through 3 because I haven't played them. I should play FF9 one day, only played the first disc and stopped. Well, Yoshkev, you might be in for a treat if we finish early. Telepathy, huh? That's not really it, but I suppose it's similar. So they were testing telepathy on this ship? Yeah, I guess so. So what exactly did they have you guys do? The same thing that we're doing now. Exactly the same thing. What? The Nonary game. 9 people were put in this boat and 9 others were put in a building in Nevada. And the game started. Junpei grabbed the sides of his head. Look, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. What do the Nonary game and some telepathic experiment have to do with each other? Clover bit her lip. She blinked back sudden tears. What happened to her in Nevada? The ability to access a morphogenic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. You know how sometimes when you're up against a really tough problem, and the answer just kind of pops into your head? That's an epiphany. And what you learn from an epiphany can be transmitted with telepathy. When you add danger to the equation, then it gets easier to transmit that information over telepathy. So you're saying the Nonary game was supposed to introduce that element of danger? Yeah, but it couldn't just be any old danger. It had to be life and death. And someone did actually die. A girl. Junpei felt sudden grip of despair on his heart. Something deep and distant and powerful squeezed, and for a moment he felt very, very empty and alone. She was on the boat with my brother. I was in Nevada, so I never met her, but I did hear her name. Her name was, The sound of the door opening was like a gunshot. Junpei spun around. Oh, my apologies. I seem to have disturbed you. Ace. You two must have strong stomachs. I can't imagine how you could stay in this room for so long. Ace glanced down at the floor. At the corpse covered in blood. At any rate, Junpei, would you be so kind as to help me with something? I'm having a little trouble and I could really use your assistance. Come on, it'll only take a moment. With that, he turned and walked back toward the communications office. Clover waited until he was out of sight and spoke in a small, quiet voice. I don't want Ace to hear us. We can talk about this later. Huh? Hey, wait! Clover ignored him. From outside, Junpei could hear Ace calling. Junpei, what are you doing in there? Hurry up! Ah! Lexivale, if I'm gonna play FF1 through 3, I'm probably gonna play the remakes that I think are on the PSP. That was Santa's sister, wasn't it? Don't confirm or deny, please. Yes, I think the same thing. Grumbling to himself, Junpei stomped off toward the communications office. Alright, door won't open unless we do the right thingamabob. Small screwdrivers combined with this. Ink combined with this. No, I already searched everything in here. Paper. Combined with this. Okay. Do this thing. dot, 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 dash. Oops, no. Back. Oops. I did it wrong, I'm sorry, I'll figure it out. Dot, 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 dash, dash, dot, 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 dash, dot, 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 dash, 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 dot, dot. Alright, chores unlocked. All ice. Uh-oh, we can't skip this. Alice, did that mean... Junpei couldn't hold back. He had to know what was in the file. Each page was covered with strange characters. They looked like tiny drawings. Okay, so this is all skippable. This must be the key to the library on the bottom deck. So it would seem. The bottom deck, the library. Junpei remembers something he'd heard from Seven when they'd been in the chemical closet. Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge, beneath the navel, the gigantic. Did beneath the navel mean the bottom deck? Did Forest of Knowledge mean the library? If it did, then was Alice in the room somewhere beyond the library? What's wrong? Junpei blinked. Only then did he notice Ace looking at him, curiosity and concern written in his face in equal parts. There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. He began to explain his theory to Ace. And he stopped. It wouldn't make any sense if Ace didn't know who Alice was supposed to be. So he told Ace everything June had told him. About the Egyptian priestess. About Ice 9. And finally about the woman who wouldn't melt, who had been recovered from the Titanic disaster. Named their daughter Ladasha. Ladasha. Interesting name. And how she'd been purchased by an English millionaire who called himself Lord Gordane. And how Gordane had hid Alice somewhere on the ship. And you think that he hid her in a small room beyond the library on the bottom deck? Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess so. I see. Ace stared off in the distance, his hand slowly and absent-mindedly stroking his beard. After a few moments, his hand stopped. Turned slowly to look at Junpei, and his brows drew together. Junpei, have you ever heard of the term CAS? Ladasha. That is... Oh, I didn't notice that either. That is clever. CAS. It stands for Cells Alive System. It is an advanced technology for freezing and preserving organic matter. It simply is a technique that allows one to freeze things without the formation of ice crystals. Normally, if you freeze something fresh, water within its cells expands as it crystallizes, damaging the cell membrane. CAS, however, works differently. The object to be frozen is supercooled using magnetic fields, and then frozen instantly and uniformly, giving ice crystals no time to form. It was originally developed for the preservation of food as an alternative to normal freezing process. Now, however, there are rumors that it's been used for other things. What do you mean, other things? Well, there are obvious medical uses, but perhaps also space travel. Space travel? Are you serious? Surely you've heard of suspended animation, cryogenic freezing. It's a fairly common idea in science fiction books and films. People are sometimes frozen for especially lengthy journeys through space. That's when Junpei understood what Ace was suggesting. Whoa, wait a minute there. Ace looked at him and raised an eyebrow. Are you saying that Alice was frozen using that CAS thing? Well, I'm sure the possibility is quite low, but it is a possibility. If the special ice you call Ice 9 does indeed exist, and if CAS were used to freeze her into some sort of ice instantaneously, you think she could be alive? Well, I can't say for sure, of course. I'm only talking about possibilities. The melting point for Ice 9 is 96 degrees, right? If she were put somewhere where she could reach that temperature. That's nuts! Are you really saying she could have defrosted and started walking about? You're quite right, it does sound unbelievable. But if she had, then we would have an explanation for the man found dead on the floor. You mean the guy dressed like a captain? Yes. He was dead when we found him. Clearly he had been murdered. And if he was murdered, then by whom? It couldn't have been one of us. That would be impossible. In order to enter the captain's quarters, one must first open door 1. That door that requires the Earth Key prevented us from accessing door 1. Who was it that opened that door? Santa and Lotus. Right, clearly the two of them could not have opened door 1, or any other door for that matter. Who else then could have done so? Junpei thought for a second. No, nobody. After Santa and Lotus had used the Earth Key, they turned back and met up with Junpei and June, who had just returned from EDEC. The four of them then proceeded to return to the large hospital room and reunite with Ace, Seven, and Clover. The problem with having a dash in your name is when you're doing, like, online forms, and they're like, you can't have dashes in your name. That's not a valid name. Then you'd run into problems. But I'm assuming in those situations you would just write your name as Ladasha. When Junpei and his team had gone to the shower room, Ace, Seven, and Clover had been left in the large hospital room, but they would have been unable to open door 1. Perhaps when Junpei and June had taken the elevator door 2 then? No, that would have been impossible. They'd have gone only 5 minutes. No human could have run to the captain's quarters, killed the man in there, and run back in 5 minutes. It would be impossible for any of us to be the murderer. That being the case, who could have killed him? Wouldn't it make sense if his killer was someone who had been in the ship for some time? A person like that would know the ship well. They would know the locations of all the hidden passages and secret doors. The numbered doors would mean nothing to someone like that. It would be a simple thing for them to enter the captain's quarters. Then you're saying the killer was Alice? It was Junpei's turn to raise an eyebrow. Ace drew his thumb to his lips thoughtfully. Well, this is only one possible theory. All eyes Alice. Was Alice indeed somewhere in the ship with them? Junpei had only one clue. The key card in his hand. It would, he hoped, grant him access to the Forest of Knowledge. But beyond that, it waited for him beyond the Forest of Knowledge. Whoever might be there, however, would have to wait. At the moment, there was nothing Junpei could do. He gripped the keycard tighter and shoved it deep into his pocket. Unique key. 9 hours, 12 persons, 11 doors. Yeah, they just keep getting more and more. Alright, what was the number? 0, so 3, 5. 3, 5. 1, 4. 2, 7. 2, 4. Open. We're free. That was eventful. Alright, I'm gonna save here. Note. A note? Yeah, I found it in the pocket of the guy with the captain's clothes. It said something about the darkness of the sinister hand or something. The safe! We can get access to the safe! Also, I really hope you didn't bring the axe. Wait. Did we even see an axe this time? What the hell? Let me see it. But Junpei wasn't going to get to see it. From the other end of the hall, he heard Ace's voice. Hey, Junpei, Clover, what are you two doing? Hurry up. Clover shrugged. I'll show it to you later, alright? Come on, we gotta hurry. Before Junpei could protest, she was gone. Around the corner, and off down the long stem of the L. A note. A note. Junpei was curious. But there was something else that bothered him. Her pocket had been bulging far more than it was just from a note. Junpei did his best to convince himself that it would make sense later, and ran off after Clover. The axe was there? Okay. They reached B-Deck at the same time. Junpei! Clover! June's face was excited. Something had happened, that much Junpei could tell simply by looking at her. What's up? Given the situation, he was not inclined to be excited about sudden developments. June, however, couldn't contain herself. We found it! Found what? We found it! What did you find? The last door! We found door 9! What? Come on, just follow us. We'll explain on the way. Okay, let's go. It's not letting me skip, by the way. Although bringing it along might not be a bad idea. Yeah. Seven turned and jogged off down the stairs. The rest followed. We finally made it. The relief and excitement in her voice echoed what each of them had felt. Yeah, it's finally time. Junpei wasn't quite ready to believe that they'd really done it, at least not just yet. Still, if everyone said it was door 9, then it probably was. He'd feel his heart racing. A mixture of anticipation and fear ran through his veins, and he could feel his legs shaking. He was doing his best to maintain a healthy sense of skepticism, but he couldn't deny the prospect of an escape was an exciting one. there was one thing he couldn't get off his mind. The numbered door could only accommodate between 3 and 5 people. There were 7 of them on the way to door 9, and even in the best case scenario, there would be 2 of them who would be left behind. 2 people. He didn't have any solutions to that problem yet, but he was desperately hoping one would present itself. Junpei looked over at the clock. His hands indicated that it was 4:30. They had 90 minutes before their time was up. Hey, Junpei! June! What the hell are you two doing? Hurry up! Santa's voice jolted Junpei out of his reverie. Let's go, Jumpy! June took off down the stairs, jogging as quickly as she could. Junpei followed. Does the Zero Bracelet change that at all? I'm too stupid to do math. Remember, the Zero Bracelet is actually the 6th bracelet. So, as a group, they piled in the elevator and rode impatiently down the E-deck. It looked familiar. There was a small grate between the 2 elevators. Here's the thing. If you did 2 groups of... You did a group of 5 and a group of 4, one of the 5s being the bracelet... Then, or one of the 4s being the bracelet, I think there's a possibility that you could do 2 groups. Someone grabbed hold of it and began to talk. I know I told you I'd explain earlier, but honestly, there ain't much time to explain. After we split off from you guys, the 4 of us got onto the elevator on the left, and that took us the other side of the grate. After that... They'd handed down another hallway. It took toward the bow of the ship, and eventually number 6 that Junpei and June had found earlier. That could change the digital routes quite a bit. Yeah... I think it's possible, but I don't want to do the math in my head right now. With 4, they'd been able to open the door and keep going. As usual, they'd faced a locked door, but had they been forced to complete 2 different areas before they could unlock it. Once they were through that door, there was another hallway that went to the other direction, towards the stern. So on your way, you found the elevator. That's right. So in other words, you kind of did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side. Yeah. With that settled, Junpei looked around. So where's the number 9 door? Over here. Follow me. Seven began walking down the hallway that led towards the stern. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with him. They had been walking for a while. June in silent step with Junpei when she spoke. You know, it's because of Santa that we're all here right now. Huh? All 7 of us are going to door 9. You don't get it. Santa's 7 and Lotus. What's their digital route? 9. It's 9. That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they wanted to. But they didn't. Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said we can't leave Jude behind. That's why we went looking for you guys. So then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase. That's right. Well, I wouldn't have called that one. And Santa would be the one stick up for you, I mean. Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that. Oh, don't get me wrong. Perhaps June had sensed Junpei's concern. I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it and Santa objected to it first. Junpei was about to respond when 7 suddenly stopped. In front of them stood a door. So is this? Junpei couldn't see 7's face, but he could see him nod. There's no other place for us to go. Nope, just look around. At the end of the hallway was a thick iron wall. To the left and right, other hallways led to the port and starboard sides of the ship. They were closed off by thick metal grates. It looked as though 7 was right. The door in front of them was their only choice. Alright, let's get moving. He pulled open the door and walked in. Junpei took a deep breath and followed. It appeared they'd been telling the truth. The first thing Junpei saw when he entered the room was a number. 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing made of red paint. The door decorated sat on the back wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it. It was a large double door with powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic, and it made the red paint look especially garish. Junpei grabbed the handle and shook. It didn't budge, but then he didn't really expect it to. The red was bolted to the wall next to the door. A display read vacant. Finally, they'd arrived. Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. He felt a chill down his back, and his chest tightened even as the blood began to boil. He was about to speak when... Junpei, look out! Look behind you! He turned. Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw. A door and a 9. There was another one. Hey, what the hell? What the hell's going on here? His words came slowly, and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door, set parallel to the door they came through, but in the other corner of the room. It's actually green, and everyone is colorblind! What a twist! 9. There's no mistaking the number, and if there was any proof was needed, a red was bolted in the wall next to the door. Grabbed the handle and shook the door, not expecting it to open, but because he had to make sure it was real. Why the hell are there 2 doors? It was Ace who spoke first. Do you think perhaps one is right door and the other is the wrong one? Lotus was skeptical. I don't know about that. That seems unlikely. What makes you say so? Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far. They're full of puzzles, but there are always hints as to how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms that just had to go to our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck? Then you're saying there's some sort of hint in this room. No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was here before. I didn't find anything that might be a hint, though. Well then that means... Yeah, both of these are the right door. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it. Nobody was bleeding actual blood, but green stuff? Maybe. Junpei began to mutter to himself. So if there are 2 number 9 doors, if we split it up right... That's not gonna work. Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her hand. You've got a notebook and pen, right? Can I borrow them? Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her. Okay, well, I guess the game is going to answer the question you had, Midnight Kirby. Look at this! Clover pointed the notebook to a blank page and set it down the desk. Everyone gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers. You get it? The numbers on the top are all combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are all the people who don't fit. There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So... If 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 grow, then 3 are left behind. This is actually completely logical, except we have extra bracelets! And she's hiding that for now. I think she's trying to provoke someone. Clover really is methodical. Yeah, she really is! I mean, goodness! She is really smart and really on top of things. Right? Clover nodded, almost as if she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem. The room went very quiet. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were blank. Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to look around him. As he did, he began to wonder. What is it? What was it? The walls were covered with candles. The wavering flames made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look through as though they were dancing. Thanks for doing the math, Clover. Yeah, thanks. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room. But that wasn't necessarily the math we wanted, Midnight Kirby. We wanted the math with the extra bracelets. And we wanted the math with Snake available. Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. The carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet, an altar? It was recessed space set into the wall between 2 other doors. Sitting in a raised section of the altar was a coffin. A coffin. A coffin. A coffin. No, it couldn't possibly be. No, because this is the wrong location. But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin for the time being. No, we have the note so we can go to the safe, so we can open the safe, so we can get the stuff we need, so we can go over here and open the coffin. At that moment, Seven spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced. Wait, we don't need the safe! All the safe tells us is the information about Ace, and we might not need that. Huh. Interesting. There was an edge of humor to his voice. Wait, what was the combination? What was the combination to this coffin? I don't remember. There was an edge of humor in his voice, but it sounded forced. Okay, I give up. I give up! I figured we sat here long enough, someone would volunteer, but I guess nobody's got the guts to do it. Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one. What? You guys didn't figure it out yet? Fine. Fine, let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right with her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it, let me write it down. Seven snatched up a notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look. Oh no, Seven! No! If you're trying to leave of a group of 3 or in a group of 4 and get everybody out, Clover's right. But there's another way. Only one combination, though. If you split us up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination. Wait, this means... Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if I hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'll still be saying the same thing. The same thing? What are you saying? I am. I'll stay behind. Why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden? Are you some kind of idiot? Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered. I'm completely against this. I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna have to owe you something for getting out of here. The rest of us began to speak all at once. I'm against it too. I don't want to leave Ace behind, and I didn't want to leave Ace behind. I don't want to leave you either. I don't like the idea. There's gotta be other options. I disagree as well. I can't say I care much for you being the hero. Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven. Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's gotta be a better way than this. Seven made some noise that was somewhere between his derisive snort and a cough. Doesn't make any sense. He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water in the corners of Seven's eyes. Oh, he's so cute! That's totally against Lotus's previous actions unless she likes him. I believe in the ship! The ship can sail! That was when Santa spoke. Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet. Until then, Junpei hadn't realized Santa was staying quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable. Are you agreeing? You want to leave him here? Santa shook his head. Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here alone. And I don't see how it matters. I said alone. Eh? I said I want to leave Seven alone. There's a dull shine in Santa's eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver. What the hell are you? What, you don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including Seven. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No. Those are my orders. What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you? You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice. What? 3, 2, 1. What's going on? Santa was so fast, Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance. His feet moving like lightning. He spun and... Ah! Oh, fuck me! Sideways! God damn it! He had June. See? I told you. His lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile. That's so sensitive for the gas situation. That's not wrong, Sir Matt. That's sort of why I said it. A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze and he could feel his breath steal in his lungs. Nothing made sense. Junpei felt as though his head were about to explode. Santa's sudden change of attitude, seeing he needed 2 more. The gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver roughly against her temple. What was he doing with a gun? Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? Junpei's question roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Seven spoke almost as if he had sensed Junpei's confusion. That gun's from the other room. What room? One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was gonna do this. I should have taken the gun. Well, too late now, fat ass. Damn it. A picture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face and he glared at Santa. The next psycho, oh god. Santa, for his part, didn't as much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then the smile faded and he began to move. He walked backward, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand to the scanner panel quickly, and then forced June to do the same. Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations. I've chosen you to come with me. Put your hands on the red. That was what Santa meant when he said he needed 2 more. Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order. Santa's eyes narrowed into slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. They stayed frozen like deer caught in headlights of an oncoming car. Right. Fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it. No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched. And the gun roared. Okay, you didn't shoot at her! The section of the floor exploded, scattering wood splinters across the floor. A thin plume of smoke sneaked out from the hole in the floor. We no doubt the gun was real and worked. But why? Santa, why are you? Clover's voice spoke of betrayal and disbelief. Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends. What? You knew about the leaf word and the four-leaf clover. Santa's cheek twitched almost imperceptibly. What the hell is that shit? I've got no idea. You're lying. Shut up. Just shut up, you stupid bitch. You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head? Flex's spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small. Santa... He snorted, then shook his head vigorously and turned to face Ace and Lotus. Alright, assholes. What are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets. I don't have all day. And what's the matter? Your hearing's starting to going senile, maybe? Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seemed as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes were wild and her chest heaved with every quick breath like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they going to do? And he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate. June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa had commanded meant that she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she could leave the ship alive along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There's only one thing for Junpei to do. Turn to Ace and Lotus. Please, go. Huh? But... Junpei, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're going to be stuck, Junpei, and so will Clover and Seven. I know, but you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Clover and Seven are probably the perfect people to be stuck here with. Clover, we've already got a good bond of trust with, and Seven is the detective who's investigating this in the first place. I think, and he's the one who knows about Alice the most. I think with those two with us, we can figure something out in the rest of this ship while the rest of them leave, and then hopefully stop Santa. Better watch out, better not cry. Santa Claus is coming for you. But you don't need to worry about us, we'll figure something out. Right, Seven? Right! You just leave it to us. That's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says, but... Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of. But, no, you can't. Ace! Lotus! Ace, Lotus, don't do it! Don't worry about me, please! June was almost crying. Junpei walked around behind Ace and Lotus. Without a word, he laid a hand on each of their backs and gently pushed them forward. They almost stumbled, then righted themselves and took another step, and another. They turned around and Junpei nodded. Ace and Lotus turned around again and walked slowly towards the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, he stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled. Alright, now let's get those hands on the scanner panel. What's the hold up? What, you think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. A red doesn't need a person, you know. All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner! I'm not gonna say it again. He shoved the revolver harder against June's head and she winced. June has a really deep voice all of a sudden. It's distress. I made a mistake! I'm sorry! As they both start with J's. Fine. Ace sighed, defeated, and placed his hand on the scanner panel. Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand on the scanner panel. The 4th asterisk blinked on. Good job! Now, Lotus, pull the lever. As soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid and you know what happens, right? Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few. Alright! Go! Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Pull the lever, Lotus! Wrong lever! And June across... Santa waited until they were all the way inside, then hauled himself and June across the threshold as well. 6, 7, 8. Later. After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air it created caused the candles in the altar to flicker and die. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover, and Seven had been left behind. Clover looked down at her hand and traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms in front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for something, anything to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read, engaged. He moved to the smaller door. The red vacant. The digital root of the remaining people was 7. There was no possible way for them to open a door with a 9 on it. Junpei touched the surface of the door. He thought about June, about Akane Kurashiki. Was she safe? It was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she had escaped this horrible boat, then that was what Junpei prayed for. Seven came up next to him, pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed. So what do you want to do, Junpei? What do you mean, what do I want to do? What can we do? Seven opened his mouth to respond when... If only we had the number 2 bracelet! And it always echoed through the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and Seven looked at one another. What the hell is that? Shh! Quiet! Clover motioned to Seven to be quiet. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. The 3 of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from. Where? Where was it coming from? Could it be? Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin. You're right. Let's open it. But how? What are those muscles for? For show? You're telling me to force it open? Just shut up and try. Junpei and Seven grabbed hold of the coffin. They tried to get a good grip with what little purchase they could find, and pulled with all their strength. Urgh! Damn it! Where'd it come from? Where'd it go? I don't know the rest of the song, Cotton Eye Joe. Man, it won't even budge. There was some sort of keypad attached to the coffin. Its purpose would not have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it. Not another one. Yeah, it looks like it. Do you think we have to put in the right password or it won't open? I think so. The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder. They had no idea who was in the coffin, but they wanted out, and they wanted out now. They had no idea what they were supposed to do. Without a passcode, it didn't seem like there was anything they could do. They couldn't even tell how many numbers the passcode needed to take. Isn't there a hint somewhere? Well, let's look for one. Fortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Where was the combination to safe? The combination to the safe is the note from the captain. You use the note on your watch, and the watch will give you the combination. And I think the combination to the safe is the same combination as the one in here. Clover ran to examine the pews, and Seven investigated the desk, but they turned up nothing. The sound still wouldn't stop. It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room. What was the passcode? What was Junpei supposed to do? How was he supposed to figure it out? He needed something. The world blinked. What? Oh no! I knew it! I knew it! I fucking knew it! Suddenly there was a voice inside of Junpei's head. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Ah, now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand. What the hell was that? That voice? Junpei was utterly and completely baffled. Huh? What are you talking about? What's up? Seven and Clover ran to him, but Junpei didn't know what to tell them. All we need now is a random memory. Oh, that's cool. I knew it! I knew the memories would be connected from the other playthroughs. That's the only way we would come to the epiphany that we're supposed to look at the note, because we've done it before in a different timeline. If he told them he'd heard a voice, they'd laugh, or worse, they'd think he'd go insane. So all he said was, oh, nothing. Claire just snorted a little too loud and looked pointedly down at the bracelet. Now things get crazy? Ooh, I like it. There were a pair of small buttons protruding from either side of it. Junpei pressed the buttons on the bracelet. Oh no, I don't remember what the combination was! Oh no! Oh no, no, no! Did I write it down? Did I write it down? No, that's not it. That's not it, that's not it, that's not it. That's not it, that's not it. I didn't write it down! Okay, someone in chat has to tell me, because I didn't write this down. Truth had gone, truth had gone, truth had gone. So, left, left, left? Right, right, right? Truth is being right. Truth is had gone. Gone is therefore left. So it's right, left, right, left, right, left. That was it. Eight numbers blinked and then on and then off on the bracelet display. Junpei checked one last time. One, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. Huh? Eh? Hey, what the hell were those numbers? Oh my gosh, are those? Junpei didn't answer. He simply walked straight to the coffin. He knelt down in front of the keyboard, running over the numbers in his head so he wouldn't forget. With trembling fingers, he punched them in. That was all of them. He punched the E button. There was a moment of complete silence. Then there was the sound of the coffin lid unlatching. Someone sat up out of it. Ah! Oh, is that you, Clover? I apologize for worrying you. Snake! Oh my! How did you... Junpei and Seven, is that you? Is everyone else there as well? Just like Rip Van Winkle. Still, it was very much like Snake to simply cut to the heart of the matter and ask. Junpei and Seven shared a wry smile. Clover's eyes were filled with tears. You're back! With a cry of joy, she leapt into Snake's arms. Gently now. My body's still a little weak. You're back! You're back! Clover looked like nothing so much as a lost child who had finally found her home. She cried and cried and cried. Her eyes were red and her nose was running. She hiccuped and gasped as if she were about to begin hyperventilating. You're back! You're really here! Her voice was happy but almost desperate, as if she feared he would disappear again if she stopped talking to him. Tear after tremendous tear rolled down her face. Her small arms strained as she clutched Snake's body as tight as she could. Perhaps she had to convince herself that he was real. Perhaps she was worried he had gone the moment she let go. Perhaps she simply didn't know what else to do. Oh, you're back. Come now, what's gotten into you? Acting as though I've returned from the grave. Not as though you did. I really thought you were dead. Huh? You jerk! Idiot! 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 Baka! 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 Junpei using the code has ruined everything. Clover broke into sobs so great she could no longer talk. It was a touching reunion between brother and sister. Even though Junpei knew they had little time, and every minute they wasted was a minute was a minute they wasted, it felt cruel to pull them apart. Junpei and Seven sat down on one of the pews, waiting for Clover to calm down before explaining to Snake what had transpired. I see. I believe I understand things rather well now, thank you. In the shower room, there was a dead body wearing my clothes. Because of that, you thought I was dead, correct? He had quickly and neatly summarized the events of several hours. Junpei nodded. Wait! We couldn't have gotten this ending unless we did the ending where Ace became, where it was revealed Ace was the killer, because that was the ending where we found this code. We didn't discover the code in any other ending. Is that the key? Do you need to just get the safe ending to get the right ending? Huh. Interesting. You also discovered a corpse in the captain's quarters, and Santa turned on you here in this room. Do I have it straight? The coffin ending ends before you can open the coffin. This happens if you don't get the safe ending. Oh. So that's why I'm missing an ending, because I can't get it because I did the safe ending first? Cool. That's super cool. I like it. Oh, so you have to get the safe ending. That's why everybody was so surprised that I got it first. Seven had been rather surprised to learn the dead body in the captain's quarters. With everything that had taken place, Junpei had simply forgotten to mention it to him. Otherwise, the ending would say to be continued. Oh, that's brutal. Well then, I've got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but there's still something of a mystery who did all this and why. The corpse in the shower room looked like me, and the corpse in the captain's quarters. Why were they killed in the way they were? You don't know? No, why would I? The guy in the shower room. We don't know who he is, so let's just call him Mr. X. Anyway, Mr. X was wearing Snake's clothes. You were wearing some kind of robes. That means someone took your clothes and put them on Mr. X. We need to figure out who that was. I apologize, but I have no idea who might have done this to me. I only just now woke up. I was unconscious during all the events you just described to me. They must have undressed me and changed my clothes during that time. When were you knocked out? When we split up to look for the red. Where did they get you? Do you remember? It was a small room in one of the hallways on C deck. What happened? The same thing that happened to everyone else when we were abducted. A can releasing some sort of gas was thrown in the room. I believe the gas is some sort of incapacitating agent. Then that means it was... 0. Looks that way, huh? There's nothing else I have to tell you. When I woke up, I was in that coffin. Junpei crossed his arms and thought. Why had 0 made Mr. X wear Snake's clothes? How had the results of that trick benefited 0? It was a mystery. Junpei couldn't make sense of it. See, okay, here's the thing. Junpei nodded. Junpei, did you nod? I literally can't tell you, asshole. Okay, so here's something. I mentioned before, if there's a supernatural aspect to this game, I'm going to be disappointed. I wanted to clarify something. I'm not disappointed that a supernatural element presented itself in the game. One, because it was thoroughly explained as something in the game, within the game that could exist. And two, this mystery could have been solved without the supernatural explanation. All we needed was her to pull out that note and say, let's figure out this note since we have time. So all that did, all the supernatural element did, was speed up the process of solving that mystery, because we literally solved that mystery before in another saved game. So I think it works really cleverly well to have that supernatural element exist. They did it in such a way that I'm satisfied with it. So I wanted to make sure I cleared that up, because that is something I mentioned before. Well, Snake would not use the word asshole. It was a mystery. Junpei couldn't make sense of it. He also didn't have a satisfactory explanation for how he discerned the key code from the coffin. It just didn't make sense. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. What did that mean? Did it mean anything? Why had Junpei felt compelled to push the buttons for the bracelet after hearing them? Seven asked him about it while they waited for Clover to finish crying. He had no answer for him then, and he still didn't. All he could say is that it seemed to have been a subconscious reaction. His fingers had simply moved of their own accord. It was the only explanation that made any sort of sense, and it made almost no sense. Junpei had no idea what any of it meant. His mind was a maelstrom of mysteries, clues, theories, and more mysteries. He could barely think. And of course, Snake and Clover had been subjects in a similar experiment 9 years ago. The ability to access a morphogenic field is affected by a couple of things. First is epiphany, and the other is danger. And someone did actually die. A girl. Her name was, There had been another experiment conducted on the same ship 9 years ago. A girl had died during it. Morphogenic field theory. The 2 murders. Switching clothes. The Nonary game. And whatever strange thing was happening to Junpei himself. The maelstrom in his head spat out words and ideas that disappeared back into it as soon as he grasped them. But as he struggled through them, Junpei began to realize something. There was something that tied all of them together. Zero. He was the ringleader, the person who trapped 9 people on a sinking ship. Morphogenetic. Oh. Okay, morphogenetic, sorry. Zero knew everything. If he could uncover Zero's identity, all their questions would be answered. Who was Zero? Junpei had the beginnings of a theory. If he could only test it. Or perhaps... At any rate, we'll have plenty of time to decipher the details later. For now, it is of utmost importance that we escape. Junpei, it was 4:30 the last time you checked the clock, yes? That means we have less than an hour. We must hurry. Hey! How are we gonna get out of here? Isn't that obvious? You're the other number 9 door. Oh, yeah, you're right. With Snake, we can open the door. Don't tell me you hadn't figured that out. As they sniped back and forth, Junpei glanced at Snake's left hand. He was wearing a bracelet with a 2 on it. Come on, you gotta tell me these things. I assumed you figured it out. Forget it. Let's just get going. 7 stomped off towards the smaller number 9 door. Clover, Snake, and Junpei followed. 7 quickly laid his hand on the red, and an asterisk appeared on the screen. Junpei and the others followed suit and laid their hands on the scanner panel. Soon there was 4 asterisks on the screen. 7 glanced at them and laid his hand on the lever of the red. Alright, you guys ready to go? Clover, can you make sure that you leave one of the fake bracelets behind? Or will it cause a problem? Dream Team reunited. United. Snake is really cool. Yes. Yep. Junpei paused for a moment. Not yet. Huh? Before we go in, I'd like to check something. You want to check something? Yes, but before I do, 7, could you pull the lever? I want to make sure we can verify with just the 4 of us. What do you mean? We don't need... Just do it, alright? But if the door opens, don't go in yet, okay? Please, this is really important. I really need to check this, okay? Work with me here. Junpei looked directly into 7's eyes. The older man looked back for a moment, then nodded. Fine. Damn it, Sir Bat. 7 pulled down the lever and the door 9 creaked open. Then they waited. 6, 7, 8. After 9 seconds, the door closed. Alright, that means the 4 of us can go into door 9. So? We knew that already. It's obvious. Obvious. Yeah, you're right, it is. Now what happens if we had Zero's bracelet? What? Zero's bracelet? Why don't you take it out, Clover? For a moment, Clover looked surprised, but she recovered quickly and stuck her tongue out at Junpei. So you did know I had it. I picked it up because I thought it might be useful sometime. She reached into one of the pockets of her voluminous jacket and produced a bracelet. Junpei took it from her and turned to 7. This was in the left hand of the corpse of the captain's quarters. If you look at it, you can see it's got a 0 on the face. Just to make sure this is a little easier to talk about, I'm going to call the guy we found dead in the captain's quarters Cap. If Cap was really 0, then I should be able to open door 9 with just me, Clover, and this bracelet. But most importantly, if you were Cap and this was your game, would you really put one of these bracelets on yourself? Anyway, let's just give it a shot. Clover, give me your hand. Okay. And after he and Clover scanned their bracelets, he waved Caps over the scanner panel. Then he pulled the lever. However, the door didn't open. The red's display read error. I knew it. Now, what does this tell us? Maybe the bracelet has to be on your wrist in order for it to work? No, that's impossible. Did you see how the panel showed a 3rd asterisk when I scanned Cap's bracelet? Whether or not it's on your wrist doesn't matter. All you have to do is put the bracelet near the panel for it to register. 7 waved his bracelet in front of the scanner panel. Sure enough, it was single asterisk appeared on the red. Huh, looks like you're right. See? So what does this mean? There's only one possibility. That bracelet isn't the number 0. Is that what you're saying? That's right. Then what number is it? Let's find out. Junpei, scan the bracelet with this combination. It's a 6. Okay, so what do I need to make that work? I need a 2 and a 1, which I don't have. or I need to make it 18. To make it 18, I need... Hold on. I'm doing the math in my head, and that's awful. Okay, so I need 7 in myself. 7 Junpei and Cap. If this combination of door and the Cap's bracelet was number 2. Wait, what? No! My bad. I did the math wrong. I'm an idiot. I didn't mean snake. I meant 7. The door didn't open. Cap's number wasn't 2. Junpei proceeded to... There is a calculator in this game. Quiet, you! 7 Junpei and Cap. If this combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 6. Hey! It opened! The door opened! What? Why? What does this mean? Both 7 and Clover seemed rather shaken as they turned to look at Junpei for answers. I don't like it! I don't like it that it's 6! I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it at all. The door slid heavily shut. Junpei raised an eyebrow. Isn't it obvious? Cap's bracelet is number 6. But doesn't it say 0? This isn't a 0. The symbol for here isn't a number 0. It's the letter O. O? Whoa, wait a minute. I don't get it. I mean, we figured out the Cap's bracelet is 6, right? Yeah. Does that mean there are 2 people with 6s? Before Junpei could answer, Snake spoke up. Peoples? Peoples is a word. It's just really awkward when you need to use it. It's just really awkward, so... There's most likely only one person with a 6. But I don't get it. What about June? Wait, are we saying this entire time June had, like, a variable number? Well, this is only an educated guess, but I think June was never 6 to begin with. Her bracelet was flipped. What? It could have been this entire time. Yoshikev, I think it's a word. It might not be. And the times you use it is really awkward. And the times you'd use it, you could replace it with people anyway. Because people can be plurals in the same way that peoples would specifically be. So I think it's an unnecessary word. O is the 15th letter. 1 plus 5 is 6. In other words, June's real number is... 9? That seems to be most likely. And all this numbered door stuff was just a load of crap? Why would you say that? Because if June was 9, the numbers wouldn't match up. Clover grabbed Junpei's notebook and began to write furiously in it. Junpei leaned over to take a look at it. Use persons instead of peoples. I don't know if it does. I'm not 100% certain. But I would trust an English teacher over me, dude. So... Yeah, what about the 9th man, then? There would have to be 2 9s. It doesn't make sense. They're right. List of all the numbers doors June went through. Clover read each out loud so the Snake could follow along. Alright, I made a list of all the numbered doors that June had gone through so far. I wrote down which door she went into and with who. And I wrote down all the numbers were. So if you switch 9 to wherever there's a 6, the numbers don't work. If the digital root is 7, you can't go to door 4. Digital root of 2 is then you can't open door 9. 8, I mean. Clover, did you notice anything interesting on that list? What do you mean? You're talking about 3, right? 3? Santa's always in the room with her. That's what you're saying, isn't it? What? Santa? Oh, right! Yes, exactly. What about it? That's quite simple, really. You told me that the first time you came to this room, Santa was the first to refuse to leave June behind. Now, doesn't that beg the question, why? Why would Santa do such a thing? That's also true. That's also true, Midnight Kirby. That's a bit of an issue with pronouns. Anyway, it's time for a break. So let's see if we can finish this up after words. So get up, stretch, and you be able to keep watching comfortably. and I will be right back.